So there was a great Danny Maude and Pete Cowen video that came out a couple months back, and it's got over 2 million views already. And there were some really particular things that he was saying in there that I think we need to be a little bit careful about, okay? And that's what I wanted to talk about today. It's kind of the part where he talks about the trail arm, right, his right arm, and he talks about spinning the right arm down, right? He talks about why he believes in doing that. Okay, so let's just take a quick listen on what Pete is talking to with Danny about that aspect.
When you say spinning the right arm down, what do you mean?
Well, I'm just spinning the arm down without losing the right wrist, and that's why Hogan says, "I wish I'd have got 3 right hands," because he could compress the ball with 3 right hands.
Not this.
No.
Yeah.
So your forearm turns down, but you maintain the pressure.
Yeah.
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 So then I can maintain the pressure on the shaft with the right hand and move it to finish. So I've got shaft pressure, face pressure, and I've got right wrist pressure all the way through.
So wonderfully done video, but the things that I would really remember as we talk about the action of the trail arm is a couple different things, right? I mean, Pete Cowen is a phenomenal instructor. He's worked with more world-class professionals. I mean, take a look at this list here. It's a who's who. Sergio and Louis Oosthuizen and Darren Clark and Lee Westwood and Rory McIlroy. I mean, amazing crop of players that he's worked with, okay? But your average golfer, you're 10, you're 15, you're 20, handicap and higher, struggling to hit it far, this motion of spinning the right arm down, that's not going to help you hit it better or farther. So I need to politely disagree with Mr. Cowen, okay? Now that might be something that he works with his elite players because, you know, like take a look at this video of Tiger Woods describing what happens when he gets the club stuck behind him, right? Very common fault of really high-level elite players.
In other words, arms in front of the body, where the club used to lay down. Show them how, in your old swing, when you used to get stuck.
Ole swing?
Yes.
They go, ole.
That's the lay the shaft down 16th tee Players Championship, right?
You know, and that's just because of a product of being a junior golfer. All junior golfers fire their hips hard, get the club stuck from the inside so they can flip it. Hit the ball long ways. Yeah, you hit the ball long ways, but it's hard to control.
So he calls that his Olay swing, right? And that getting his right arm trapped and in here, right? Kind of the opposite of spinning the right arm. That's part of why he hits the ball absolutely freaking miles, right? It's a fault of Rory McIlroy's. It's a fault of Henrik Stenson. I've heard them talk about it. It's a fault of many great ball strikers. It's a fault of Sergio Garcia's, okay? So, you know, that's the sensation where they say they feel like they're getting stuck, right? The right arm, you know, is basically going opposite of what he's talking about. So we would be so happy as to have that problem, right? Because that's part of what created all their power. That's part of what taught them how to clear their hips, right? And really get open through the golf ball and create a lot of snap. Yes, like Tiger said, the ball didn't always go so straight, right? It's a product of being a junior golfer, but that brilliance is what led to him hitting it so far. So unless you're one of those people that comes, say you came to take a lesson and said, Zach, you know, I'm hitting the ball so far, I just can't keep it straight. That's not something I encounter on an everyday basis. Most everyone that I encounter is looking for ways to hit the ball farther, hopefully with less effort. Okay, so, you know, when we're talking about this right arm, right, just so you can kind of, you know, not to ruffle feathers with Pete Cowen, but the right arm, right, when he talks about spinning, right, the right arm is pronating. It's going this direction. This is supinating, right? Think of like holding a bowl of soup, right? It's supinating is going, I'm saying the right arm should supinate coming down, okay, until about this point, and then it actually starts to pronate. It's very late. He's saying from the top, start feeling this sensation, right? And he's talking about some specifics of not doing with the hand and the wrist. Take a look at this graph. I'm going to put it up there. Okay, this is a trail arm. The red line is a trail arm supination, pronation graph. And what it means, just to kind of, you know, I know not everyone's looking at graphs all the time. It's basically saying that the action of the right arm is it's going this way. It's supinating until around P6 or 6.5. So that's just after club parallel. That's the only time it actually starts to pronate is right here, okay, right here. So from here to here, it's actually doing that movement that he's talking about. And I believe that that movement happens because of the stretches and the athletic tension that's occurring, and it's just a natural kind of unloading or releasing of that right arm in this fashion, let's say. I don't think it's something that you actively use the muscles in your shoulder, your right arm, your right forearm. We don't actively do that on the way down. And if you do, you're going to really be putting this force that I see too many golfers doing on the downswing, where I start to see some of this movement. So he referred to Ben Hogan. He said, you know, this is why Hogan talked about having 3 right hands. And I would definitely politely disagree with that, okay? So this is how Hogan described the downswing. And I'm saying this not to be, you know, disrespectful to Pete or to cause conflict. I want this to help you hit it the best and the farthest, okay? So Hogan, in talking about what the arms do, okay, to start the downswing, he goes, what do the hands do? The answer is they do nothing active until after the arms have moved on the downswing to a position just above the level of the hips. The arms don't propel this motion themselves. They are carried down by the movement of the hips. To understand just how the hands and arms get this, quote, free ride, pick up a club, swing it back, hold your position at the top. Now, forgetting about your hands and arms entirely, start to move your hips back to the left in a comparative slow motion, okay? So he's exactly describing this. He says, take it to the top, okay, hold it. Now he goes, just move your hips, right? Just move your hips. And he demonstrated this beautifully after he hit 18 greens in Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. He says, this is a free ride. So literally our hands and arms are doing nothing. There's no tension, I'm just pulling down with my hips, and my hands and arms get this free ride. And it's exactly what that graph is kind of showing too. So that the forearm is actually going this way until about this point in the downswing, and then it starts to turn over. And I think that feel and that thought in itself would help you hit the ball much better and definitely much farther, okay? Because like I said, most of the people that I'm working with, they're putting some type of force on this end of the club that's not beneficial. Whether it's a force that starts here, whether it's a force that goes out this way, there's some type of force that's happening in the right shoulder and the right arm that's actually a big detriment to their golf swing. Hey, it's your coach, Zach Allen here. And if you'd like to permanently eliminate your slice, add 20 or more yards to your drives, and make consistently flush contact swing after swing, then I've got just the thing for you. I'm about to show you a method that will fix your swing fast. In fact, we often see huge improvements on the very first swing. Since I don't have enough time in this short video, I've put together a 3-part mini clinic where I walk you through the exact process, nothing held back. I call it the One Swing Fix, and you can get the entire thing free of charge by clicking the link in the description below. The training isn't available anywhere else, so go ahead, click the link right now, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, now let's get back to today's lesson. So, like what Hogan's talking about in that free ride, so he says, okay, from here to here is a free ride, and then, boom, that's when I wish I had 3 right hands. Like literally that club was getting whipped and slung so hard. He's like, if I had a couple more hands on there, I would sling it even harder. But he's not talking about using it as far as contracting the muscles back here to actually move the golf club down. Now I think where Pete gets this from is he's working with a lot of players like Tiger that they actually do get stuck. They are the probably 0.5% of golfers out there that actually have this very rare problem. It's part of why they hit the ball so far too, okay? So like I said earlier, if we could ever have that problem, we should be so lucky, right? I actually, in my golf swing, I need to be more stuck. When I come down, my arms look more like this. I wish I could get them more like that. And the golfers that I'm working with, it's the same thing too. So, you know, like I said, I'm sure if Pete was here in person, he would have some descriptions and some debate. We could talk through this and try to, you know, figure out what he exactly means, what I mean, where we're coming from. But my point would be, with that many golfers watching that video, I would say be very careful in you trying to spin this right arm down in kind of the terms and the fashion that he's talking about. Even though he's talking about with his body moving at the same time, I would not be using these muscles back here. I would not be using this whole rear chain in my right arm. I don't think it's a good place. I think, if anything, we start to feel this, and then this is just kind of letting go going through. So we're not actively contracting those muscles. So with that, I'd love to hear what you think, right? Like, no, I'm a Pete Cowen guy, Danny Maude, you're wrong, Zach. I'd love to hear it in the comments, right? Or maybe your interpretation of what do you think Pete exactly means when he's talking about this, because the video is getting a lot of views and it's getting a lot of, positive feedback. Or vice versa. You know what, Zach? I think you're right. I think I could walk over and I think I would definitely kind of gear it that way more. That's how I would teach myself, or I was teaching my son or daughter this game. I would teach them that way. I'd love to hear your opinion on that, okay? So if these videos that I give you, if they've ever helped you out in the past, please feel free to subscribe, give the video a like. I've got some other videos here that I want you to take a look at if you've got some other questions or concerns about your downswing. But until then, cheers, and I'll see you next video.